Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. I've talked to millions of men. I've been a man my whole life, and I'm going to give you the one thing a man finds most attractive. It's not looks. Looks will get his attention, but they will not keep his respect. It's not money. It's not how available you are. And it's definitely not how much you chase him. The one thing a man finds most attractive is a woman who knows her worth and lives like she believes it. Let me start by telling you something every woman needs to hear and every man already understands, even if he never says it out loud. The moment a woman truly knows her worth, everything in her life changes. The way she walks changes. The way she speaks changes. The way she allows people to treat her changes. And let me tell you, men notice that immediately. A woman who knows her worth doesn't have to chase, doesn't have to compete, and doesn't have to prove anything. Her energy already speaks for her before she opens her mouth. See, knowing your worth is not arrogance. It's not thinking you're better than anyone else. It's simply understanding that you are valuable, that your time matters, that your love is not cheap, and that access to you is earned, not given away freely. When a woman understands that, she stops settling for less than she deserves. And that right there is powerful, because men are naturally drawn to what feels valuable. If something looks rare, protected, and respected, a man will treat it differently. A woman who knows her worth doesn't beg a man to stay. She doesn't threaten him with leaving either. She calmly understands that if he wants to be there, he will show it. And if he doesn't, she won't destroy herself trying to convince him. That level of self-respect creates attraction because it shows strength. Men may enjoy attention, but they deeply respect strength, and respect is what keeps a man committed. When a woman knows her worth, she doesn't confuse attention with love. She doesn't accept inconsistent behavior and call it effort. She doesn't tolerate broken promises and call it potential. She understands that words mean nothing without action. And let me tell you, when a man realizes he can't manipulate, confuse, or play games with her, he either levels up or he leaves, and either outcome is a win for her. Knowing your worth also means you're not afraid of being alone. You don't stay in situations that drain you just because you're scared of loneliness. And that confidence shakes a man's mindset, because when he sees that you don't need him to survive, but you choose him because he adds value to your life, that hits different. A man wants to be chosen, not needed out of fear. And here's the real truth. A woman who knows her worth sets the standard without saying a word. She doesn't argue about respect. She doesn't negotiate basic decency. She simply walks away from anything that doesn't align with who she is. And that kind of woman becomes unforgettable, because long after the beauty fades and the excitement cools down, a man will always remember the woman who knew her value and never compromised it. That's why knowing your worth is the foundation of attraction. Not because it guarantees every man will stay, but because it guarantees the wrong ones won't. And the right one, the one who sees your value clearly, will recognize that being with you is a privilege, not a favor. Let me tell you something important that most people misunderstand about attraction. Confidence is not about being loud, demanding attention, or trying to prove that you matter. Real confidence is quiet, it's calm, it's steady. And the kind of confidence that truly attracts a man is confidence without desperation. The moment desperation enters the picture, attraction starts to disappear because desperation sends a message that you don't believe you're enough on your own. A woman who is confident without desperation doesn't panic when a man pulls back a little. She doesn't overthink every message, every delay, every change in tone. She understands that her value does not rise or fall based on how fast someone replies to her. That inner security creates a powerful energy. A man can feel it. He may not know how to explain it, but he knows when a woman is grounded versus when she's emotionally chasing. Desperation shows up in subtle ways. It shows up when someone over-explains themselves, when they constantly seek reassurance, when they lower their standards just to keep someone around. Confidence does the opposite. Confidence says, I know who I am, and I don't need to convince you. That mindset makes a man stop and pay attention because people are naturally drawn to those who are comfortable standing alone. When a woman is confident without desperation, she gives space without fear. She allows a man to miss her instead of smothering him with constant availability. And that space is not a game, it's self-respect. Men don't miss what's always there. They miss what feels valuable, what feels intentional, what feels like a choice rather than an obligation. This kind of confidence also means she doesn't compete with other women. She doesn't stalk, compare, or feel threatened by every female presence. She understands that if a man is for her, he will choose her. And if he doesn't, she won't force herself into a situation where she has to fight for attention. That level of emotional maturity is incredibly attractive because it shows stability. A confident woman doesn't rush emotional intimacy. She lets things unfold naturally. She doesn't push for labels before consistency is shown. She doesn't try to lock a man down out of fear of losing him. Instead, she observes, she listens, she watches actions, and that patience sends a clear message: I'm not in a hurry to give my heart to just anyone. Men respect what doesn't chase them. They respect a woman who can walk away with grace instead of clinging out of fear. And here's the truth. Confidence without desperation doesn't push men away. It challenges them. It makes them reflect on their own intentions. A man who is serious will step up. A man who isn't will feel uncomfortable and fade away. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Emotional stability is one of the most underestimated qualities when it comes to attraction, yet it is one of the most powerful. A man may be drawn in by beauty, charm, or excitement, but what makes him stay, what makes him feel connected on a deeper level, is how he feels when he's with you emotionally. A woman who brings peace into a man's life stands out in a world full of emotional chaos, confusion, and constant tension. Emotional stability doesn't mean you don't have feelings or that you never get upset. It means you know how to manage your emotions instead of letting your emotions control you. It means you can express disappointment without exploding, communicate needs without attacking, and address problems without turning every issue into a crisis. Men are deeply affected by this, even if they don't always know how to explain it. A man wants to feel safe emotionally, not like he's walking on eggshells. When a woman is emotionally stable, she doesn't react immediately out of fear. She pauses. She thinks. She responds instead of reacting. That ability to stay centered, especially during conflict, creates trust. A man begins to feel that he can be himself without being judged, criticized, or constantly misunderstood. And when a man feels understood, he opens up more, he invests more, he stays. A woman who brings peace doesn't nag, chase, or guilt a man into showing up. She allows him to come forward willingly. She doesn't need constant reassurance because she reassures herself first. That independence creates balance. A man feels like he's adding to her life, not responsible for holding it together. And that takes pressure off the relationship, which makes it healthier and stronger. Emotional instability, on the other hand, drains energy. Constant accusations, overthinking, mood swings, and unresolved past wounds can slowly push a man away, not because he doesn't care, but because the relationship feels heavy. A woman who has done her inner work understands this. She doesn't project old pain onto new situations. She heals instead of harms. Peace is addictive. When a man experiences calm, understanding, and emotional maturity with a woman, he compares it to everything else he's known. And most of the time, nothing else feels as good. That's why emotional stability is so attractive. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It quietly creates a space where love can grow naturally. A woman who brings peace doesn't try to control a man. She trusts herself enough to let go. She understands that real connection cannot be forced. And that calm confidence shifts the entire dynamic. A man doesn't feel trapped. He feels chosen. He feels respected. And when a man feels peace instead of pressure, he doesn't look for reasons to leave. He looks for reasons to stay. Standards are not rules meant to control another person. They are reflections of how much you value yourself. When a woman has clear standards, she is silently communicating what she will accept and what she will not tolerate. A man learns very quickly how to treat her, not because she lectures him, but because her boundaries are consistent. Consistency is what teaches behavior. Words without action mean nothing, but standards backed by action shape the entire dynamic. A woman with standards does not argue about basic respect. She doesn't explain over and over why she deserves honesty, effort, or consistency. She expects it. And when those expectations are not met, she doesn't throw tantrums or make dramatic exits. She simply withdraws access. That calm response is powerful. It tells a man that her peace matters more than forcing someone to act right. Men test boundaries, not always intentionally, but instinctively. They observe what is allowed and what is enforced. When a woman has weak or flexible standards, a man learns that he can push limits without consequences. But when her standards are firm, fair, and unwavering, a man understands that certain behavior will not be tolerated. That clarity creates respect. And respect is the foundation of attraction. Having standards does not make a woman difficult. It makes her selective. She is not trying to change a man into something he's not. She is simply choosing not to entertain behavior that doesn't align with her values. That choice removes chaos from her life. It also challenges a man to decide whether he is willing to rise to her level or walk away. And that decision reveals everything. A woman with standards doesn't reward inconsistency. She doesn't give full access to someone who shows up halfway. She matches energy without bitterness or punishment. She observes patterns, not promises. That emotional discipline is rare, and rarity increases value. A man may not like the limits at first, but deep down he respects them because they show self-control and self-respect. Standards also protect a woman from over-investing too early. She doesn't give loyalty without commitment. She doesn't give emotional labor without effort in return. She understands that relationships are built through mutual contribution. This balanced approach prevents resentment and burnout, creating healthier connections. When a man encounters a woman with strong standards, he becomes more intentional. He thinks before he acts. He measures his words. He understands that access to her is not guaranteed. That awareness elevates his behavior. And even if he chooses to leave, he leaves knowing he encountered a woman who would not lower herself to be chosen. Standards are not about control or manipulation. They are about alignment. They filter out what doesn't belong and make space for what does. And in doing so, they teach a man exactly how to treat a woman who knows her worth. Authenticity is one of the rarest qualities in today's world, and that is exactly why it is so attractive. A man can sense when a woman is being real versus when she is performing to be like, pretending, people-pleasing, and constantly adjusting yourself to fit someone else's expectations may get temporary approval, but it never creates real connection. What draws a man in on a deeper level is a woman who is comfortable being herself, flaws and all. Being authentic doesn't mean oversharing everything or dumping emotions without awareness. It means your words match your actions. It means you don't say yes when you want to say no just to keep the peace. It means you don't laugh at things that hurt you or stay silent when something matters. That honesty creates trust, and trust is what makes a man feel secure enough to invest emotionally. A woman who is authentic doesn't chase perfection. She understands that trying to be perfect is exhausting and unsustainable. Instead, she allows herself to be human. She can admit when she's wrong without feeling weak. She can express her needs without fear of rejection. That openness invites a man to do the same. When he sees that he doesn't have to pretend around her, he relaxes. And when a man relaxes, he bonds. Authenticity also means not hiding your standards, values, or intentions. A woman who knows what she wants doesn't water herself down to avoid scaring someone away. She understands that the right man will not be intimidated by clarity. He will appreciate it. The wrong man will feel uncomfortable because he was never aligned in the first place. That honesty saves time, energy, and emotional pain. Men are deeply drawn to women who are emotionally genuine, not dramatic, not unpredictable, but real. A woman who reacts honestly, instead of playing games, creates emotional safety. She doesn't